Hello and welcome everyone to our 54th episode of The Little Inside. It really struck me this morning, and I must say I was a bit shocked actually, but I found myself to be still Tobi. It's strange how week after week passes and I just keep being Tobi. It's a weird thing, isn't it? Anyways, well, this week we're going to have a little look at fun and meditation practice. How do these two go together? Well, let's get started right after the intro. So there is a lot of talk about suffering. If you read Buddhist literature, if you read the discourses of the Buddha, there's a lot of talk about suffering. And very often people feel that all this talking about suffering makes them feel a bit negative and serious and sometimes even anxious. That is okay. We all do have these kind of responses when we hear a lot about suffering and so forth, but it doesn't have to turn into a thing. We don't have to become someone that suffers a spiritual path. And in fact, even though there is a lot of talk about suffering, it's not at all about just suffering. It's about actually transcending suffering. So the path is a path that leads us out of suffering. But since most of us are unaware that we do actually suffer, and we feel very much like we're in this kind of fun park of life in which we have all these amazing choices, and we can go left and then we can go right, and we can do amazing things. We all do tend to feel this. So it's difficult to actually notice the underlying sense of dissatisfaction that's actually running the show. Now, I'm talking about suffering as well because it's really important to understand the concept or the idea of suffering before we can move on to making ourselves happy, or to creating happiness, or to go beyond suffering, which is in itself a really happy thing. The whole path is a path that leads from bliss to bliss. It's something very, very beautiful actually. But before we go into how that really works, it's essential to understand why we actually suffer and what suffering really is. Well, suffering, as I've said it before, is this underlying sense of being unsatisfied. It's this unsatisfied sense of self that tries to be comfortable. And that's all we ever do. It's when you change your posture, it's when you do your shopping, your grocery shopping, when you pay your monthly bills, when you come back home, you lock your door, you go to sleep, you're having a mattress, you're trying to find a good mattress to sleep on, you read a book, you drink a glass of water, you eat medicine. It's all for the sake of getting more comfortable, becoming better. And our sense of comfort that we have in our lives really doesn't ever last very long. Very often what we perceive to be very comfortable actually later turns out to be turning into something uncomfortable again. And so we need more and more fixing. Like you have this phone coming out that year, it's the solution to the phone that came out the previous year, which turned into a problem. But the solution is the new phone, right? Which then soon will turn into the next problem, which will be solved by the next type of phone. And so this is quite endless. And it's a very good example of how we lead our life. And if we don't recognize this, we might just feel like, yay, I'm going to get my new phone very soon, or oh, I can't wait to get out of this relationship and to start a new one. It very much feels like it's exciting and fun, but the underlying restlessness, the underlying unease, we usually only see when we take the time to sit still somewhere and look at ourselves honestly, which most people don't really ever do in their lives. And why are we not doing that? Well, the answer is simple. Because we would be confronted with the way we suffer. We would actually then see just how much we really suffer. When you sit down quietly, just looking at yourself, just looking at what the mind does, what it thinks about, what your emotions do, what they spin around, how your thoughts feed into your emotions and your emotions feed back into your thoughts. How after 5 minutes, when you're not used to this, you get incredibly restless and you can't wait for it to stop. That one, that's the one. This is something that we usually never see in our life. We don't see this underlying unease, the restlessness, the stress that we actually have when it comes to just being with ourselves. That actually should be an easy and nice and happy thing, right? To just rest with yourself, not having to do anything, no distraction around. Well, wonderful, I can just hang out with myself. That's beautifully happy, isn't it? And not really for most people. It's not really beautiful and happy for most people to just be still with themselves without any distractions. And so when you hear stuff like that, when you're hearing a talk on suffering like that, you might feel, God, that's really depressing. I don't like it. I don't want to hear negative stuff like this. I want to hear about positive, fluffy unicorns. I don't want to hear bad things. Well, there it is. There is the sense of unease that I've been talking about. And if you're feeling that right now, maybe you have the strength to actually turn your eyes back at yourself and notice, oh yeah, there, I'm uncomfortable. And I'm not uncomfortable because I want to be uncomfortable, but I'm uncomfortable because that's just a part of my mental makeup. It just arises because I've just been pushing some buttons there. You might feel fascinated by it. It's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. This is really profound. That there again, I was pushing a button and then you have this reaction coming up inside of you. So we are not only not in control of what we really feel and think about, we're at the whim of the outside world. We're enslaved to circumstances. That's quite a miserable condition. But you might be going right now like, wait a second, this was a talk about how to have more fun with your meditation practice, right? So let's get to that now. Because if we don't understand really the concept of what's in the way of having fun, then we cannot have like real fun on the path. Then our fun will be counterfeit fun. It will not be feeling authentic. It will not be really nice. And so since this path is all about actually feeling good and being more and more happy, we need to understand how that works. You could say that happiness is at the very base of your being. If you take out all the bullshit, if you take out everything that perpetually makes us unhappy, then the only thing that's left is happiness. If you take out all the clouds of the sky, the only thing that's left is, well, a clear blue radiant sky. The same thing with our mind or our being. The nature of us is the same thing. We're so clouded, so covered up in various things that make us restless and unhappy, various conditions, things that we have learned to think, things that we have learned to feel by our society, and so forth. It's all covering us up, like dirt that's covering up a diamond. That's the example that the Tibetans very often use, that they have this diamond that's covered by layers and layers of dirt. And if you remove those layers of dirt, at the end you have that beautiful, shiny diamond that's left once you have polished it, right? Now you could say this is the fun of spiritual practice. The fun is when you remove something that obstructs you from having fun, right? We call it letting go or giving up, renouncing what's making you heavy, enlightening, right? We want to actually become more light. Yes, and we become more light if we let go of what makes us feel heavy, which obstructs and limits us, which restricts our movements, you can say, mentally, physically, which makes us inflexible, all that. If you let go of that, which makes you inflexible, well, flexibility is the result. If you let go of what makes you unhealthy, health is the result. If you let go of what makes you unhappy and restless, well, happiness and rest is the result, quite naturally. So we're talking about a type of happiness that you don't have to create, right? It's not that type of happiness that is like food. Okay, here's that favorite food that I really love, and all I need to do is eat it, consume it, and once I've consumed it, then the happiness which seemingly, apparently was in the food is now transferred into my being, and so I'm feeling happy. That's not really true. Food is not something that makes you happy. I'm a foodie, so I'm qualified of talking a little bit about food. I really do love good food. And so it looks like, in my life I've had food prepared that literally made me cry when I ate. It was like absolutely amazing food. Yes, maybe you had an experience like that. So it looks like as if the happiness was in the food and all I need to do is just consume it and it's mine. And that's the usual way we think of happiness. Like, oh, happiness is in my partner. All I need to do is spend more time with her, and then happiness is mine. That's the idea of consumption, right? Happiness is something that you can consume. But it's not. Happiness is at the root of your being. It's not something to add on to yourself. That's the delusion, right? We think that happiness is something outside of ourselves that we need to get a hold of. Once we have it, then we can make it grow endlessly. But that's not the case. The more food I eat, even the best type of food, the more I eat, the more I suffer. The more I am with the person that I love, the more problems arise. Yes? So it's nice to get a hug, but if the hug doesn't stop, that's not so nice. It's nice to have sex, but if the sex wouldn't stop, that would turn into torture. It's nice to have a massage, but if it wouldn't stop, you see? That's the point that I'm trying to make. There is that happiness. I would just call it like short-term pleasures. You could even just call it a relief. But the real fun is not with that. The real fun in meditation practice, the good feelings and all that, comes with surrender. It comes with letting go. It doesn't come with accumulation. It's a path of renouncing, of letting go. So how do I have fun with meditation practice? Well, first of all, for me, having fun doesn't mean that I'm doing the silly dance before I sit down on my cushion and then go woo and whistle funny songs and all that kind of stuff. That's not my idea of fun. Actually, when I talk about having fun I really mean feeling really, really good about this moment right here, right now. How do I do it? How can I have fun with right now? Because really, the more I practice, the more I find that anything else is anyways, it's just a thought. Right now, that's what is. And so it's the truth. This is right now, and it is like this. So how can I have fun with this? How can I let go and relax and be at ease right now? Well, first of all, I need to notice, where am I holding tension right now? And you can start by doing this with your body. Where am I holding tension right now? Look, my left shoulder is a bit tense. I let it go, feels a bit better. A bit more relaxed. What else? I feel a bit of tension around my heart. A tiny amount of tension around my heart. So could I relax there? Yes, I can. I notice there's a little bit of tension in my forehead too. I can relax that too. Becoming a bit more open, a bit more spacious and more relaxed in the body. Just a little bit. Does feel better. Now, is there any other points in my mind that I'm not really relaxed about? Like maybe, to give you an example, right now, trying to find the right thing to say. I need to say the right thing because the camera right there is pointing at me and I need to see the right thing. Well, here, right there, I'm tense. So how can I relax mentally around that? Well, it's not about trying to be a someone, as I mentioned in a previous video. It's not about trying to be the perfect Tobi that says the perfect thing. It's about authenticity. It's about just being with this moment and allowing what has to be said to be said. As simple as that. So there is relaxing around that. Not trying to be someone that is loved and appreciated by everyone out there. You know, I'm not recording this video right now in this moment so that you love me for recording that video. Well, since I don't do it, I can relax. But if I would record that video because I want you guys to love me, then I would be under a huge amount of pressure because I need to make sure that everyone who watches this video really loves me. That's insanity. So how could it help me to relax? Well, if I drop this attitude, if I'm not doing it for the people out there, but I'm doing it just because that's the function that's fulfilled right now in this moment. That's just what's happening right now. There's no intention concerning the future, or it has to make everyone happy or something like this. It's impossible. Some people will see this video and go like, what's this guy talking about? This is a bunch of bullshit. Other people will say, well, that's great. Well, that's up to you guys, right? Your response, the way you respond to the video, that's up to you. My job right now is to let go and relax and allow the moment right now to just be naturally as it is. It's not always easy, but the more I allow that to be, the better it feels. The more at ease can I be with who I am right now. So these are a few tips for how to have fun with your meditation practice, right? So you can do it in any possible way, but real fun arises in the moment when you're letting go of that one thing that doesn't allow you to enjoy this moment right now. Always remember, true spiritual practice, the real deal work, is always done in the here and now. Once you learn how to relax, how to let go, how to just be here and let go of all these crazy thoughts, let them drift away, and trust in the power of this moment, and relax into it. Allow life to carry you instead of trying to do life. There's fun in that. There is a natural sense of ease in that. And on top of that, have fun with your life. Don't restrict yourself. Don't try to, oh my God, now I'm a spiritual person, so I shouldn't watch any movies and I shouldn't have chocolate cake because it's very unspiritual. That's tension, right? How can you have fun like that? How can you relax? How can you let go into deeper states? Impossible. Have your chocolate cake, watch your movie, and relax. Play the path, as my teacher says very nicely. Be consistent with it, but do it for the joy. That's really important. So I hope you enjoyed this 54th episode of The Little Inside. And even at the end of this video, I found that I'm still Tobi. It's incredible. I seem to continue to be Tobi all the time. It's amazing. Well, anyways, if you do have any questions, then you can always let me know by writing them down in the comment section below, or just send me an email or whatever, get in contact with me, one of our weekly classes here in Phuket. Up to you. And I hope you really liked it, and I'm looking forward to see all of you guys again next Wednesday. Bye-bye.